Samsung Galaxy Tab S9 Series JLF 2024. We have Neelkant Mishra with us. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. At Red FM, we've discussed a lot about our podcast on finance, and today we have the economic advisor with us, who's involved in all the decisions that are taken in this country. And we're so pleased to have you, sir. How are you feeling at JLF?
Oh, it's pretty good, very vibrant, lots of good ideas, fresh ideas.
How was your session, sir, in the morning? How was your session in the morning?
No, I think it's quite good. We discussed about India's space program, of the wonderful work that ISRO has done,
Yes.
and how that should become a platform and a base on which we should aspire for a much bigger thing.
So, as we know it, that the digital revolution has propelled India's growth. What next do you see as a digital revolution that is in the coming years? What can we expect?
See, so far, as an economy, we have relied on the diffusion of foreign technologies.
Yes.
We have relied on technology that was developed abroad to become more mature and then bring it back to India. 5, 7, 10 years after it was adopted in the West. And that has benefited us.
Yes.
But, so as you move from low income status to middle income status, that is generally sufficient.
Yeah.
But as we start to move towards middle income status, I think we have to start preparing for the risks of getting trapped into what is known as the middle income trap. So we need to start evolving frameworks and systems such that we start developing our own technology. We become
Yes.
a product nation. We start owning brands. Because most countries that get stuck in the middle income trap are the ones that fail to make the transition from letting growth be driven by diffusion of outside technology to developing their own.
And if we talk about technology, UPI, it has been crazy, and it has taken even social media on storm. People visiting India and the politicians, the bureaucrats, they are experiencing the ease of UPI technology. What next is going to be the next big thing that will, revolutionize, that will reach even the street vendors, that will reach even the last man? What other technology is there in the pipeline that you can share with us?
There are many technologies. So one of the critical things about India and the fact that we are still, our per capita income and per capita wealth is very low, is that the unit cost needs to be brought down. So one of the main success factors, so the drivers of the success of UPI has been that the transaction cost is so low,
Yes.
which is why effectively it can be made free and still no one loses a lot of money. How can we do that, say, in the business of issuing loans? So there is this Sahmati, which is an agreement in Hindi, which is the account aggregator model, wherein how can we use the phenomenal amounts of data being generated by UPI to start giving very small ticket loans to, say, small street vendors,
Yes, yes.
small farmers, small retail stores. How can we use some of this infrastructure to integrate small vendors, small suppliers into a much larger marketplace, so like ONDC. So these are the obvious next steps. But as we start to think about the next 10 years and 15 years, how can we develop technology such that medical diagnostics,
Yes.
very high-end healthcare can be made available at low unit costs to a large number of people.
Wonderful. You talked about microfinancing. As we know it, that the world over, youth is sort of struggling due to microfinancing because there have been the sites have bombarded them with the microfinancing options, and the loans are being taken for all the reasons to, people are flashing iPhones, people are enjoying a lifestyle which maybe they can not afford at the time with their given their income. Do you think microfinancing is one thing that we also need to be wary of and make the youth aware about it? That pay later options is an option, but you'll have to pay later, and it will affect your CIBIL score, it will affect your lending capacity. How do you think that? What steps can be taken to make sure the youth is aware of this?
Yes, I think financial education or awareness of the risks you get into if the amount of debt you take is not sustainable, or spending beyond your means, and thinking beyond just cash flows into the sustainability of cash flows is very important. It has to be an integral part of the education that we impart in our schools. So microfinance, while clearly there are risks and pitfalls like the ones you mentioned, where if you make the loans very easily available, a very large number of people can get trapped into this cycle of just paying the interest on these large amounts of debt at very high interest rates, and then they get stuck into that debt trap.
One loan to cover another loan to cover another loan.
Exactly, and so as regulators are starting to act on it. So you must have seen that the Reserve Bank of India raised the risk weights to control exactly this kind of excessive behavior. But in the overall system, so you'll always find some examples of people who are letting go of their control and consuming way beyond what they should be consuming, or they can afford to consume. But if say there is a 10 trillion rupee, 10 lakh crore unsecured personal loan book at the system level, only about 6, 7, maybe max 10% of the loans are where the ticket sizes are very small and where the checks and balances are not in place.
Yes.
So as we think about these micro loans, while there is a certain type of micro loan which perhaps should be discouraged, and therefore financial education is very important, but there is a very large and underpenetrated segment
Right.
Which actually need these loans.
True.
And they need it to grow and to grow rapidly. And as we think about sustained and rapid growth over a sustained period, it is important to solve some of these very, very vexed economic problems.
If a person is in their 20s, what is one investment advice that you would give them? That this is how you can carry out your investments. One advice for all the people in their 20s right now.
I think the first step to investment is saving. That learn to save, and you will realize that investments happen over over a period of time. So, for example, very famously, 90% of Warren Buffett's wealth was created after he was 60.
Yes.
So in the first 10, 15 years of your life, I think it is important to invest in what you do and do it very well. And just make sure that you are saving some amount, which then over a time compounds.
Yes.
Spending too much time on investment very early when the quantum that you are investing is very small is a waste of time. So it's only when, if you suppose you make 2% extra on your, on your investment, if you're sitting on 10,000 rupees, that 2% will be a rounding error.
Yeah.
If you're sending on 10 lakhs, it's a reasonable sum. Right? So therefore, it's very important to first build that corpus. And in the first 10, 15 years, I think most people should be spending more time on earning more and trying to save a bit. After that, when the corpus becomes bigger, then you can start focusing on investment.
Thank you so much, sir.